Alright guys, so we got this box from BMR. Bought it off of CJ Pony Parts. It took a while to get here, let's just leave it at that. But this is our new 8 control arms here. They're adjustable. And let's open this box up and let's see what's inside. Alright, so inside we got some wrapper stuff. And look at these beauties right here. Nicely wrapped in some cellophane wrap. Take one of these guys out. Let's look at these gorgeous arms right here. So one of the major improvements from the stock control arms is that these are supposed to be about 25 pounds lighter than the stock ones. We'll find out for sure. It's supposed to help with some weight loss here, and it's also supposed to help with a more responsive steering. And here we go. Here's the part that's actually adjustable here. So the reason you want to get adjustables is if you have your car lowered, or if you're going to plan on lowering them. I'm planning on bagging my car, so I want to have the ability to adjust these, and if I like the car lower, I can just adjust these to the right length, lower the car, and not have any issues driving. Alright, so let's move on to the install part. Oh, by the way, you get 2 arms in the kit. I liked these because they already came with the ball joint, so you don't have to press that into place, which is a little bit time consuming. These have upgraded bushings from your stock ones, so these should last longer because they are also greasable, as you see. And they come with the instructions to install these arms. So let's move on to the install part now. Alright, so here's a comparison. We see the BMR here and the stock Ford. It is a 2011 Ford, so it is a little bit rusty here. So we had to replace these, so we might as well just replace them with some aftermarket good stuff here. So right now I'm riding on stock height, so I'm just going to leave the adjustable part pretty much just right where it's at. I might elongate it just a little bit, but I'm not going to do that much. That should be good enough. And we'll do the weight test and we'll see how much lighter these BMR ones are. Alright, to start the install, I've gone ahead and I've taken the tire off the car and I've jacked it, lifted it up. Alright, so the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to take the 3/4 ratchet with a 18mm socket, and we're going to loosen up the tie rod end. So eventually I am going to change the tie rod, so I've already gone ahead and I've marked it to where the current position at with the wheels being straight, just to give me kind of a reference point of where the new tie rod should end up, and hopefully make the alignment process a little bit faster. Alright. So depending on how long your car's been touched, you may need a cheetah bar for this. So we're just going to go ahead and loosen this up. Alright. Now what I like to do generally is I take the bolt that I just took off. I'll screw it back on, but upside down, just so I can use my mallet and then smack the tie rod end down and we can pull it out. Since we are changing it, it's not really too big of a deal if the threads get messed up or if the tie rod gets damaged, but if you're not, you may want to do like perhaps maybe use a tie rod fork or use a different method of taking the tie rod out. if you're not going to change it. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to just smack the crap out of this until it drops. Now, after we do that, we're going to move to our bolt right there that holds the knuckle into the spindle here. We're just going to take these, and again, it's going to be a 18mm bolt, and we're just going to undo that. Alright, so I'll be back when everything is off of the spindle and the tie rod's down. I don't want to show you that boring process. Alright, as we can see here, we've taken the bolt that joins the spindle to the ball joint off. We've also taken the control arm off, as you can see here. No, that's not the control arm. We've also taken the tie rod end out, as you can see here. Alright, so the next step is we need to get the ball joint. We need to get the ball joint, which is right here. We need to get that to come down out of the spindle. So there's probably a couple ways to do this. You could use a pry bar and put it in the slot right here and kind of open that up a little bit and wiggle it so that the ball joint comes out. Or you could do what I'm gonna do, and I'm just gonna use a sludge hammer, my favorite tool of choice, and I'm just gonna smack the control arm until it comes down. So since this control arm is being completely replaced, we don't really care if it gets damaged or not. I mean, I guess you could resell it. I really don't know what you do with these after you take them out. But I'm gonna go ahead and start smacking this, and I'll come back when it's done. Okay, with the ball joint out of the spindle, we're good to go. Okay, the next step is gonna be to loosen that bolt. So that nut that you see right there is welded onto the frame, I guess. It's welded on there, so you don't have to worry about that one. The other side is going to be the one we're going to loosen up, and it's that bolt. You're going to have to really wiggle your way to get a ratchet onto that. It's an 18mm ratchet. You're going to have to use one of the short sockets, or if you have a 18mm wrench, that would probably be good too. It's gonna be on there pretty good, so you're gonna have to use a cheater bar, or at least do the wrench trick. Now, if it doesn't clear, you are gonna have to take the tie rod off, and that's gonna be a pain. We're gonna try to make this thing clear because I don't want to do extra work. Alright, so we're gonna loosen that up, and then we're gonna loosen this. This is going to be I believe a 21mm wrench. You have to use a wrench on this side, and you're gonna have to join two of them to get enough leverage. The other side you can wiggle, which you can't see, but right there. That side you can use a ratchet. It's gonna be a little tight, you're gonna have to wiggle it, but I prefer using ratchets instead of wrenches, so I did whatever I could to get a ratchet in there. The whole process will probably be a lot easier if you can lift your car up with the lift, but as you can see, I don't have one, and we're doing it in the parking lot. You gotta make do with what you got. Alright, for those of you that don't know the key trick on how to get extra leverage, is what you do is you put the 12-sided part of the wrench on the bolt. On the fork, you enter the other 12-sided wrench, like so. So if you're going to your right, you're going to line it up like this. That would be to loosen, or if you're going to your left, sorry, you're going to line it up like this to loosen it, which is probably 99.9% of the time you're going to use this for is to loosen stuff. However, if you need to tighten it, you're going to put it on the right side like this. I already loosened this, but I thought I'd show you guys how it looks. So this is what we're going to do. Give me a second here. Alright, so it's lined up there. You put this on. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. So this is how it looks. So there will be kind of a little bit of bend, but this will get you extra leverage on bolts that are on there pretty good. Alright, let me take these two bolts off and I'll be back. Now for this side, I'm using a ratchet, like I said. And this is my, I believe it's a half ratchet? My ratchet and a half. The big guy, well the medium guy, it's I'm pretty sure it's a half. I can't think of the other name, if it has another name. Yeah, anyway. I can't get a cheater bar in here. This is my cheater bar, by the way. I like to cheat a lot. I can't get it in there. This side, I don't have enough clearance for whatever reason. So, you can also kind of do a hybrid of that wrench trick, which is you take this and you put it at an angle and then you just push. As you can see, I've already done that, but I just thought I should show you guys in case anyone runs into this problem. Alright, so after this last bolt, the control arm will be completely unbolted and you can remove it. Alright, to remove it, it's kind of a pain a little bit here. This will just pop up right off usually. You gotta really wiggle and finesse the actual part where it meets the frame. So that'd be right here. This bushing right here tends to get a little, I guess it just, with the use, it just gets kind of stuck to the frame part. So you just really got to break that seal. It's best to use a pry bar, either from above, just kind of push it out, or from the bottom and lift it up and push it out. But whichever way is better for you guys. Again, it really depends if you're using a lift for this, or if you're like me and you don't have a lift, you're doing it in your driveway, which is probably like 90% of the people, I would imagine. So what I do is I just come from the top and I just kind of push it out. Alright, so I'm just going to get out this last nut here, and I'm going to come back with the pry bar and show you guys how I do this. Alright, so I don't actually have a pry bar small enough for the passenger side. For whatever reason, there's less clearance here than there is on the driver's side. I'm not entirely sure. So we're just going to go ahead and I guess just pull on this and hope it comes out. I'll be back and I'll tell you guys what I ended up doing. Alright guys, so this is what I ended up doing. As you can see, the control arm is off. So I ended up just putting in my 22mm wrench right here and just popping it up, and it came right out. Alright, so with this done, it's completely unbolted, it's on the ground. Now what we're going to do is put our new BMR control arm on. And we're going to do that by basically going in reverse of how we disassembled it. So first we're going to mount the bushings. We're going to push the screw in, not thread it, but just push it in to where it's making contact with the nut that's welded on here, just so it helps stabilize the arm. Then we're going to go ahead and bolt the two bolts on the frame. and then we're gonna push it in to the spindle. The spindle right there. And then we're gonna just place the bolt that goes through here with the nut, and then we're gonna tighten that, of course. So again, we're gonna tighten these guys here, the two that are on the frame. We're not gonna tighten those yet. We'll tighten the ones on the spindle, and then we're gonna put the tie rod on. Alright, so it's basically everything in reverse of how we took this control arm off. So I'll be back and I'll show you guys the final part of how to change your control arm. Okay, so this being the adjustable control arm, you're gonna have to adjust the part or the bushing that touches the frame. So the bushing that goes there. So for this bushing, since I have the the stock control arms, I'm just gonna put it at stock height. If you have a lowered car or a lifted car, you're gonna want to mess with that. But right now, since I don't have either of those things, I just gave it one or two twists till it matches the stock control arm. And now I'm gonna mount it. Okay, at this point, everything is pretty much ready to go with this control arm. So if you are just flat out changing the entire control arm, or if you just took the control arm off and pushed a new ball joint in, this would probably be where we're gonna meet up at. So we've got these two torqued down. That's not torqued down yet because we're gonna wait to put the actual load of the car, so that way we get the proper ride height and get the maximum amount of life from these bushings. So next, what we're gonna do here is this BMR actually has a grease port here. So it's actually on the bottom. So you're going to want to unscrew that before you hammer it in, or else you could probably break that. So what we're going to do is just line this up. Now what you want to do is have this section here, sorry, camera's wandering, have this section here line up where this bolt's going to go, because that bolt actually goes right through this and locks on there. So if you push it in too far, just bring it out a little bit till this bolt goes right in. Alright, so let's push that in. This is hard one-handed. I'll be right back. Alright, so now that we got the control arm mounted, and we got the ball joint into the spindle and then screwed in. Okay. So then the next step would be well, the control arm is finished. All you gotta do is lower the car and then tighten the bolt right here. You want to do that on the ground again to make sure you get the maximum amount of life for that bushing. But since we're here, I'm also gonna change the tie rod end. And to do that, we're gonna undo this bolt. This is, I believe, a reverse bolt. And I have already marked it on the bolt and the tie rod. I'm sorry, on the nut and the tie rod, to get kind of an idea of where it was when it was aligned. That way I can work from there and tweak it little by little to get it to where it needs to be. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off this tie rod end and we're gonna put a new end on here. Alright, that's the end of this video for right now. I'm going to show you guys how to change the tie rods in a separate video. Just remember, when you do change the control arms, to reattach your old tie rod end to the actual control arm assembly. Alright, look for the next video then.